what was contained in that memorandum. Of course, this march, all about supporting the people of Palestine and calling for an end of how the Iranians described it in 1979, an end of Zionism in Israel. Palesa?
From the Western Cape back to Gauteng, we come, Peter, where Panyaza Lesufi is going back to being the Education MEC in the province. Earlier this week, Lesufi was sworn in as Finance and E-Government MEC. However, in a statement today, Premier David Makhura says he has decided to return him to the education portfolio following complaints and feedback from various stakeholders that he should continue at the Department of Education. MEC Nomantunkomo Ralohoko, who was initially announced as Education MEC, will not take over at Finance and E-Government. To take the discussion further now, we joined from our studios in Pretoria by Carien Bloem of AfriForum. Carien, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on the SABC News channel. AfriForum issued a statement about 2 days ago saying that Lesufi's move out of the education portfolio is a gain for education in Gauteng. Surely you must be disappointed at this U-turn.
Yes, good afternoon. Yeah, we can say that we are very disappointed in Mr. Makhura's decision to suddenly just change his decision by moving Mr. Lesufi back to education. We were enlightened with the news of the new MEC and thought that she would bring some new air to the education in Gauteng. But now that Mr. Lesufi is back, we know that our battle is going to continue for mother tongue education, and we know we're going to have to work hard for mutual recognition and respect, because we know Mr. Lesufi is very outspoken about Afrikaans-speaking people, and he's also targeting Afrikaans schools, and he still needs to pay attention to a lot of areas in the education in Gauteng where they still lack and there is still a lot of problems.
Yeah. But what exactly is it that bothers you about MEC Lesufi and the work that he's done for the education department in Gauteng? What bothers you so much as AfriForum?
Well, I think first of all, it is very clear to us that he is busy with a big political game and he's primarily not focusing on the education in Gauteng. That's only part of his job. But first of all, he likes to have a political drive with all of his actions. Secondly,
let me just come in there. If you're saying that he's playing a political game, can you perhaps elaborate further on that? Make us understand what exactly are you referring to here?
Well, yeah, surely the fact that he's so outspoken about Afrikaans-speaking people, that he's always highlighting Afrikaans as if it's not one of the mother tongue languages in Gauteng, the fact that he's targeting Afrikaans schools, and you know, all that we want is we want equal rights for everyone in South Africa. We want the right for mother tongue education for all learners in Gauteng. That includes Afrikaans. We don't see Afrikaans as a superior language or not inclusive to all other learners. If there has been if there's been paid more attention to developing other mother tongue languages, we wouldn't have had this struggle. But Mr. Lesufi only wants to overbridge this problem by turning all the schools into English. And we don't feel that is fair. It's not fair towards Afrikaans learners, but it's not fair to all the learners in Gauteng that doesn't have...
Do you think it is fair for a Zulu-speaking or a Sotho-speaking person to be taught in English? Why specifically do you think there should be an exception for Afrikaans-speaking people?
Yeah, well, we don't think it's fair that they should be taught in English. That's why we said there needs to be education programs developed in school for Zulu-speaking learners and for Tswana-speaking learners, so that they can also have the ability to be taught in their mother tongue. Afrikaans is already developed into an educational language, and that is why it's functioning in schools.
But some people can argue,
must pay attention.
Some people can argue that AfriForum may be against integration as a whole. Hence, you guys are crying foul to say that MEC Lesufi is not the right person for the job.
No, we're not against integration. if it's done for the right reason. You know, when education plays a very important role in our children's lives, and we must do everything to make sure that the education that they get will be on that standard so that they can do something with their lives after school. First of all, we want mother tongue education to make sure that our children get quality education. Secondly, we can talk about integration. And then, because just by integrating everything isn't giving our children a better education, and that is the most important thing that we should look at.
But one could also argue that MEC Lesufi has not just been vocal on Afrikaans-related issues, but he's been vocal on a number of things, the use of drugs in school, late coming, and really the improvement of your previously disadvantaged schools.
Yes. I'm not going to take away from him that he did some good work. I'm not going to take away from him that he opened some new schools, but our primary concern is that there is still a lot of problems that need attention, and we hope that in his new term that will also be his focus. There's a lot of people that are stating that his online admission system is working perfectly. It's not working perfectly. A lot of parents experience tremendous problems when they try to register their children now for the 2020 school year. And it's something that he also needs to look in. Yes, he did some good things, but there's still a lot of stuff that needs to change for education in Gauteng.
So is AfriForum looking for a preferential treatment for the Afrikaans-speaking kids?
Sorry, just say again.
Is AfriForum looking for a preferential treatment for all the Afrikaans-speaking kids?
No, we want equal treatment for everyone. We want our children to have mother tongue education. Our mother tongue is Afrikaans. We want the other mother tongue languages in Gauteng to be developed so that other learners that want to be taught in Zulu or Tswana or Sepedi also have that right. And we don't want our children to be forced to taught in English where they don't necessarily understand the medium of education or the language, and then the quality of education they get at the end of the day isn't of the highest standard.
All right, Carien, I'm afraid we have to leave it at this for now, but we shall extend an invitation to take the discussion further on a different day. Carien Bloem from AfriForum, we had invited the Department of Education to respond to these allegations, but joining us now on the line is Thabo Masebe. Mr. Masebe is the spokesperson for Gauteng Premier David Makhura. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Masebe. Thank you so much for coming through. Your response to what AfriForum is saying?
Well, I thought I was going to speak about the appointment of MEC Panyaza Lesufi as the MEC for Education. And we explained that matter yesterday. The Premier explained the rationale for the appointment of MECs and how he came to the determination to allocate them to various portfolios. He then further indicated that he had received a lot of messages and representations from various people within the province and also beyond the province of Gauteng, who were all saying that given the track record of MEC Panyaza Lesufi in the department or in the portfolio of education, and the fact that the Gauteng province is now the leading province in the performance of education, they really felt that MEC Panyaza Lesufi should have been left in the education portfolio. And he said that while he had thought hard about this, and while he had explained the rationale behind the appointment of MECs and their allocation to the allocation of portfolios, he would not ignore the calls of the people, and that's why he later then held further consultations within the ANC, and thereafter he came to the determination that it would be better to allow MEC Panyaza Lesufi to return to the education portfolio so that he can start where he left off at the end of the fifth administration,
Yes.
and continue to lead and ensure that we provide quality education to all our learners, regardless of their background, regardless of their race and where they live and so on. So he will continue doing what he has been doing, and actually we expect him to do more.
Yes, Mr. Masebe.
Because yeah.
Let me just come in there. As you say that the Premier had received some feedback and complaints from various stakeholders that he should bring back MEC Lesufi to the education portfolio.
Yes.
Talk to us about those representations. From where they were from? Where are they from? From where were they received? And as you may have heard, that AfriForum is not pleased with this reappointment.
Well, I don't know why AfriForum would not be pleased with the appointment of any MEC, because then if whatever MEC Panyaza Lesufi was doing, he was doing it on behalf of the ANC, of the provincial government. So if they don't like it, it means they don't like the current administration in the province. Then they don't like, he was doing it on behalf of Premier David Makhura. All those introductions, the policies are not made just by one department or one person. These are policies of the government. And in fact, all of them are based on the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the Republic. So, ending discrimination in our school, accelerating transformation, all of these things are there to advance the Constitution. So, the Gauteng provincial government introduced these things, and MEC Panyaza Lesufi is the implementing agent. So, if they are fighting with MEC Panyaza Lesufi, then they have a problem with the government led by Premier David Makhura. So they should direct all those things to Premier David Makhura, and I don't think anybody would say they have a problem with the Constitution of the Republic. Because as I said, all of these things that were introduced were done to advance the Constitution.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for coming through, Thabo Masebe.